Welcome back. In today's video, we are talking to Yoel Weisberg, who is the founder of Yoel, a hair care line I absolutely fell in love with last year. We will be talking about hair, how to get healthy, beautiful hair. We will also be talking about hair loss, the causes of hair loss, and how to treat hair loss holistically. Hello, Yoel. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Claudia. How are you? Thank you so much for sharing this space in your channel with me and to giving me the opportunity to share more about the holistic approach on beauty concerns and in general, any health conditions.
Thank you, Yoel. Tell us a little bit about what happened to you.
Absolutely. Let me tell you a bit more about me. I'm originally from Venezuela. I'm an industrial engineer, and I started my career in 2007 working on a production facility that manufactures salon products, hair care products. So I spent there around 7 years, and that was a great opportunity for me because I got the opportunity to learn how a beauty company functions in every area. And around 2014, many factors happened at the same time. On one hand, the crisis in my home country, Venezuela, intensified. So that made me rethink my life plan. Also, my girlfriend at the time was moving to Miami, so it was time to, get serious and engage. And that was very stressful for me. And also, I was staying with the same business partners. It was a new endeavor here in the US when I moved. So, those three factors of moving to a new country, changing my relationship status, and starting a new job generated a lot of stress. And my body started to feel that stress, and it was reflected in two ways in alopecia areata, which is a circular bald spots on the scalp, and psoriasis on the skin. Even though I've been raised with alternative medicine, I've been having homeopathy since I was a kid. I started addressing these two conditions with a traditional method. So I went to a dermatologist, and for the alopecia areata, they recommended minoxidil injections, which are painful, and and for the psoriasis, they recommend steroid creams. So I started that path. I can tell if that made a difference or not. So I started incorporating more things on top of that. In addition to those treatments, I went for the alternative medicine. I had natural oils, especially to tame the flaky skin generated by the psoriasis. And I also applied LED therapy, laser therapy, which is very helpful for many conditions, including psoriasis and alopecia. And then I also spent some time with my spiritual coach, with my holistic coach, and they reminded me the importance of praying and meditation. So I set aside some time every day for those practices, also doing more exercise, sleeping enough. So the alopecia areata disappeared completely, and psoriasis was reduced like, let's say 90-95%. So basically cleared. The conclusion for me after that period that took, I don't know, a few months was the importance of the holistic approach. So addressing one same condition from different angles. That's what really made the difference. And it was an inspiration for me. I was in the process of creating Hayel and crafting the purpose of the project. So that was the ultimate purpose, to enhance well-being by restoring balance. That was the conclusion.
Well, first of all, I love that you point out you had different kind of stressors, but even getting engaged, which is a positive stress, but the body doesn't quite distinguish. And sometimes we think, well, what I'm going through is positive. Why am I reacting this way? But the body doesn't distinguish between different stressors. So it was great that you pointed that out. I think I would have done the same thing, tried everything. Now, we don't quite know what helped, but as you said, it is oftentimes a holistic approach.
And my takeaway also, Claudia, was that these conditions, even though you are shocked when you see these things for the first time, instead of looking at it as an alarm that you have to snooze or cover it, or what we call the band-aid solution to just cover it, the body is so magnificent, it's so smart that these are signals that something is out of balance in your body. So it's great to have those signals. And my takeaway after all this is that you need to pay attention to the alarm.
So aside from stress, positive or negative stress, what else can affect hair loss?
So that's a great question, Claudia, because the hair loss subject is kind of complex in the sense that the causes that generate hair loss or any hair condition are multiple and they are also interlaced. So we tried in some way to make categories to explain to our community. For us, it's four main categories: human factors, environmental factors, beauty routine, and lifestyle. So let me dig deeper in each one of them. With the human factors, we refer to genetics, aging, gender, which are things that you cannot really address. That a popular concept in the beauty industry of anti-aging, we don't really believe in the anti-aging concept. It's more like embrace aging at the different stages. Also hormonal imbalance, and also unfortunately people going through medical treatments. So all these human factors affect hair loss. Then you have environmental factors, for example UV rays and pollution. And then you have beauty routine, people that use a lot of chemical treatments. We have a lot of experience with that because the factory in Venezuela, the main products were hairsprays, bleaching powders, and color. And they achieve the results, but they also take a toll on hair. And then you have people using the incorrect products for their needs. And you also have products that are formulated with harmful ingredients. So all those three components in the beauty routine also can take a toll on hair.
Mhm.
And last one, very important, it's up to us if we can change it or not. It's lifestyle, right? So as we just mentioned, which was my case, stress is one of the main causes of hair loss. Then you have insufficient sleep. At the cellular level, at night, the repairing or recovering process in our cells occur. So people that don't sleep enough, they are not allowing enough time for their body to recover. And that occurs in every part of the body, but also scalp and hair. Unhealthy nutrition is another cause. We are what we eat. That's a popular saying, and it's true. And it has to do with hair. When you see the composition of hair, it's obvious that you need to eat well in order to have a healthy hair. And exercise, of course, linked to stress, but doing exercise is very important as well. So those are four main categories that can give you an idea. Again, they can be interlaced and they can generate different hair conditions.
Now, I want to go into two categories a bit deeper. First of all, hormonal. But
Mhm.
before I forget, you also told me that lately you have been getting a lot of people telling you that they have lost their hair after COVID. Can you
Yes.
talk a little bit more about that?
Yes, unfortunately, since the COVID started early 2020, we started receiving in our website a lot of inquiries from people saying that they were experiencing heavy hair loss after having COVID. And it was very common to receive these inquiries in our website. So we started doing some research. We even published a blog post describing or trying to understand a connection between COVID and hair loss. So before addressing the explanation, let me go one step back and explain the different phases or stages in how the hair grows. So first of all, you have the anagen phase, which is the growing phase. We would love to have all of our follicles in that stage forever. But the way that the hair works is that that stage occurs between 2 and 5 years, okay? Usually around 90% of our follicles are on that stage. So that's a good news. Well, the big majority of the follicles should be on that stage. Now, after that period comes, first of all, like a transition phase called catagen. Then after that one comes the telogen, which takes between 3 to 4 months. And usually the other 10% of the scalp of the follicles are on that stage. So that's the stage when the hair shaft already detached from the follicle, is not being nurtured from the follicle anymore, and it falls. So those are the hairs that you see in the sink or in the shower. And in average, just to give your audience an idea, 100 hairs fall from an average scalp every day. So it's absolutely normal. It's not that you have to count them, but it gives you an idea of that. And once that cycle ends, it starts again. Okay, and another anagen phase comes again where the hair grows, continues. One single follicle producing hair and hair and hair for up to 5 years. Okay, and according to studies, I don't remember the exact number, but that cycle can occur between 25 or 30 times in our lifetime. So at some point, the follicle doesn't have any more cycles, and that's when the follicle becomes inactive. And that's where you start to see hair that is thinner and you don't observe so much density on the hair. Okay? What's happening with COVID? People are describing two types of hair conditions. One is the alopecia areata that I just mentioned earlier, the one that happened to me, the circular bald spots. This is an autoimmune disease, so there's not enough time yet to make the studies correctly, but since this is a virus, there could be a connection of the body trying to fight against whatever the COVID does in the body. So they can also act as an autoimmune reaction and fight the own scalp in each person. So that's one of the conditions that people are observing. And also you have the telogen effluvium, which occurs when people go through shocking events. So keep in mind that we are talking in 2022, but 2 years ago, the COVID was very scary in the early 2020. So people, they were very stressed, and just the idea of being infected with COVID was shocking. And this condition also occurs when people go through any other shocking event in life, people going through surgeries, passing of a relative. And what happens with telogen effluvium is that 90% of follicles that you have in the anagen phase abruptly go into the telogen. It's like a disruption in the normal cycle. So instead of having normally 10% of the follicles in the telogen phase, you suddenly have 30%. And those 100 hairs that you would see normally become 300. So that's when people clearly see a change in the sink or the shower. So the important thing to keep in mind is to keep calm. It's a temporary condition and it goes back to normal. Luckily enough, we spoke with many people that went through the hair loss after COVID, but they are much better now and their hair returned to a normal condition. So
Good.
that's the good news. Please keep all that in mind, okay?
As you said, it can happen with many shocking events. I, for example, had neck surgery 10 years ago, and about 5 months after the surgery, my hair started falling out. But I have also experienced hair loss from hormonal imbalances. So let's talk a little bit more about that.
Yes, hormones do have a relation with hair loss. That's already known. The most common life stages where especially women experience that is in pregnancy and menopause. Okay, these changes mainly have to do with a decrease in estrogen and progesterone levels, but also people experiencing severe and prolonged hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism. This also affects. My recommendation in that case, if someone is suspicious that their hair loss is related to a hormonal imbalance, is definitely something that needs to be addressed. They can either take the traditional medicine approach or the alternative. My personal recommendation is to do both at the same time. But again, once that hormonal imbalance is addressed, things recover very quickly. So something to keep in mind.
Yes, and that happened for me as well. Once I addressed my hormonal imbalance, my hair loss stopped, and luckily it all grew back. So, Joel, is there something we can use to, first of all, keep hairs in this phase for longer, since we want them to stay there for as long as possible, or also to get them from the telogen back into the anagen? Is there anything, any sort of ingredients, any products that can help with that?
Absolutely. First of all, my first recommendation always is to keep a healthy lifestyle, because that definitely helps hair to stay healthy and stay more time in a growing healthy phase. Now, what we did in Hayel is that we spent a lot of time, actually 3 years, doing research on ingredients. Now, the interesting thing is that for many years, the only way to treat hair loss, or the recommendation, was with minoxidil, an over-the-counter drug that increases the blood flow to the follicle. So yes, more blood is coming to the follicle, more nutrients. Now, there's a big percentage of people in the last years that want to address the hair thinning condition with a drug-free approach. So we understood, and we did the research on the peptides and the vegetable stem cells. And these are potent active ingredients. They are very effective and they are also safe. So we included those active ingredients in our flagship products. And we started with two hair and scalp treatments in 2018. And then we infused that into a whole hair care line. Now, the great thing of peptides and apple stem cells is that they help to promote hair growth, bring those follicles that were intelligent into the anagen from different angles. Again, the holistic approach, that's what I love. So they promote the returning the hair into a regular cycle. They improve the hair anchoring, which means that the hair is attached strongly to the base, to the follicle. They also reduce the inflammation and the follicle miniaturization, so there's more room for the hair to grow thicker. And they also increase the lifespan of the hair follicle stem cells. So it's amazing how these vegetable stem cells. I believe you're familiar with the ingredient.
It's the Swiss apple stem cell.
Exactly. When you see the clinical studies, it's pretty impressive the before and after studies. Of course, need people to be consistent and patient. We have people expecting overnight results, and it doesn't happen like that. But after constant use, people really notice a difference.
I have to tell you though, talking about overnight results,
Mm-hmm.
when I started using your products, I immediately noticed less hair falling out when I washed my hair. And I think it's because the product is so mild. And when I washed with other shampoos, and I was using good shampoos, my hair tangles like crazy. I look like a crazy person, and I have to comb a lot, and that caused hair to break. And then I saw it in the shower. With your shampoo and mask, I don't even have to comb it. So I did actually see overnight results as far as losing less hair, because I think less of it broke. But of course, the peptides and the apple stem cells, that will take time. Are there certain peptides you prefer over others?
Well, in our case, the copper peptides was what we included in the formulation. And again, looking at the clinical studies, they are effective and they don't have any side effects known. And it's a safe ingredient to use. So we combined it with the red clover extract. We spent more than 3 years doing R&D, research and development, and trying to understand the things that people didn't like about other products in the scalp category. First of all, to give you an example, most of the hair and scalp treatments are oil based. And on the other hand, you have women, they don't wash the hair every day. So these scalp treatments would make their hair greasy and make it feel heavy and weigh down the hair. So for us, it was very important to formulate as a water-based product. Also alcohol. We looked for an alcohol-free formulation because alcohol causes itchiness and irritation in the scalp. And unscented was a big feature for us. The fact that not include any fragrance. Some people are allergic to fragrances, and also have a unisex product that could be used by men and women. So it was funny, but because the conversation with the chemist early on in the project, she said that it was impossible to do a formulation with these requirements. But after a few months of testing, she got it, and we started testing and testing, and we became more and more confident because we started to receive the feedback from our audience from an effectiveness point of view and also the user experience. So that's the product that I'm talking about, the Complete Recovery Complex. And then the other product that combines the initial portfolio was the Active Botanical Concentrate, which is a blend of 15 natural oils, vegetable oils, and 14 essential oils. The vegetable oils, they have all the nutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, the fatty acids. So these are the food for the scalp, as I call it. Mm-hmm. And then you have the benefits of essential oils that I'm sure that your audience is familiar with. So we combine them. And the great thing of the origin of these ingredients is that we looked for oils from all over the world. And I also got the opportunity back in 2017 to visit remote communities in South Africa where they harvest the baobab and the marula fruits. Mm-hmm. I believe you're familiar with them. Mm-hmm. And it was a great way to understand the origin of these natural ingredients. We spend time in the communities. Part of the social impact that Yoel has is that we are still in contact with those communities, and we give back as donations to the Baobab Foundation. So what they do is when these farmers need to go out in the country field for the whole day to look for the fruits, their small children stay in the village. So what the foundation does, they build preschools for the small children to be in great conditions. So you have top of the line classrooms and areas with bathrooms and everything equipped in the middle of the African landscape. So it's
Wow.
a great combination.
Wow. So let me backtrack. So the flagship product is your serum, which I love, and that's the one with the kappa peptides and the apple stem cells.
Yes.
And it's fantastic. I use it daily. And then the other one is the botanical. I actually only use that in my ends, but I love it too. It's beautiful.
It's versatile. Actually, it's the only product in the line that you can use at three different stages. You can use it as a pre-shampoo treatment and leave it on during night.
Mhm.
You can also use it on damp hair as a pre-styling product to reduce frizz and hydrate the hair. And as you just mentioned, as a finisher on the ends, but just a few drops. Remember, it's a very
Yeah,
rich product.
yeah, I love both of them. But you talked a little bit about how you source your ingredients. So you went to South Africa, and I know you told me you source your ingredients kind of from all over, wherever you get the best ingredients. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. We have oils from Asia, like the camellia oil. We have oils from the Mediterranean region, like the sea buckthorn. We have African oils that just as the ones that I described, the marula, the baobab, and ones from South America. We have the moringa, the buriti from Brazil. I mean, it's a wonderful combination, and also the scent comes from the essential oil, so it's not overpowering. It's a light but very pleasant scent.
It's a beautiful scent, yeah. And I love that you also have an impact on the different communities. And that's something else I really appreciate about your products. It's not just that they're very effective and beautiful products, but you think about packaging, you think about the impact you have on the communities where you source your ingredients, on the environment. So that's something I really appreciate as well. I think that's very important in the times we live in.
It was the vision that we have in some way to close the cycle. I mean, you have these wonderful natural resources, so
Mhm.
it goes through a process, the harvesting, the transport, the production, then until it gets to the end user. But through these donations, there is a way to close the cycle and give back again to those communities. It was something very important for us.
I really appreciate that as well, like I said. Now, Joel, do you have any other products in the making?
Yes, Claudia. So once you understand that all these causes are interlaced and that these same causes also generate other health conditions in the body, not necessarily related with hair, that gives you a clear path to continue the development of products in other categories, for example, skincare. So yes, we you can expect new products in the skincare category and nutritional supplements. As I mentioned, it took us 3 years to come up with our initial portfolio. So we are still taking the time to develop our products carefully and allocate enough time to verify its effectiveness, and also not just to launch another product in the market, but to have different products that will make a positive impact in our community.
I'm excited about your new products. This was really great, Joel. Thank you so much. I've learned a lot from you. Thank you so much for being here. Do you have anything you would like to add?
Claudia, thank you so much for giving me the space to share this holistic approach with our community. My takeaway for your audience would be, if there's someone going through any, can be a hair loss condition or hair thinning or any hair condition or any health condition, just keep in mind the holistic approach. The body is comprised in such a smart way. It has these mechanisms already integrated to let you know if something is wrong. So don't close the door to any treatment. You can do your research, you can consult experts in different areas, and hopefully your audience will be benefited from this conversation. And we are open to any questions or any suggestions or feedback that you may have. It's a continuous learning.
Thank you so much, Joel. I have a suggestion for you. I would love you to develop a conditioner. I love your mask, but I would love a conditioner as well. Is that something that you're working on?
Yes, yes, we
Yes?
can definitely work on a lighter conditioner for for hydrating hair.
Thank you so much for being here, Joel. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you making these amazing products.
My pleasure. Thank you so much again for the space in your channel.